We're all ready. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Paris Union High School District Regular Board Meeting of October 20th, 2021. I'm Vice President Stafford in for President Dr. Arau. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Item 2.1, call to order. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 3:30 p.m. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting at 3:30 p.m. I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. We'll take a vote, oral vote first. Trustee Vallejo. Here. Trustee Freeman.
Here.
Trustee Nelson.
Here.
Trustee Arau is absent at this point. He'll be in later. And myself, Trustee Stafford, here. I have established a quorum. We'll start with item 3.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees, closed session items only. Are there any public comments on closed session items?
No comments this evening on closed session items, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, no comments on closed session. So at this time, we go to item 4.1, which we're going to adjourn to closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So moved. Second.
Trustee Nelson and Trustee Freeman, second. Please vote electronically. After voting electronically, upon a vote being taken, the vote was 4-2 with 1 absent. 4 in favor, 1 absent. We are adjourning to closed session at 3:32 p.m. Okay, we're now going to reconvene in public session. The regular board meeting of October 20th, 2021 is reconvening at 5:16 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. So for the invocation, please remain standing. I'd like to have a moment of silence for all those ailing from any physical condition and those who have passed or are suffering from COVID-19. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we're going to recess the meeting into the, to conduct the regular board meeting of the California Military Institute Charter School. We are recessing the meeting at 5:18 p.m. With that, we'll call to order item 2.1. Oh, we need to switch over and join the meeting. This has not been started. Okay. Okay, here we go. So item 2.1, at this time I'm going to call the California Military Institute regular board meeting to order at 5:19 p.m. I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. This will be oral. Trustee Vallejo.
Here.
Trustee Freeman.
Here.
Trustee Nelson.
Here.
myself, Trustee Stafford, and Trustee Arau is absent at this point. We have established a quorum. At this time, we'll go to item 3.1, which is revision, adoption, ordering of agenda for October 20th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Trustee Freeman
I got more hair than you.
and Trustee Nelson. Okay. Please vote electronically. After a vote being taken, the vote was 4 in favor with 1 absent. So we'll continue with 4.1, student representatives of the Board of Trustees.
We've asked the students, they've done recordings again, so we're going to play them as we go through the CMI one and then in the regular board meeting.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. My name is Cadet Colonel Katura Weeks, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to present some of the amazing things that have happened at CMI this year. Beginning with our school events, we kicked off this year with our Week of Welcome, or WOW Week as we call it. On our first day of school, students get to enjoy the WOW Carnival, where we get play games, earn prizes, and most importantly, become reaccustomed to engaging with other students in person again. We also had a senior sunrise, which is the first senior event of the year. We watched the sunrise together, and some of us even went to breakfast afterwards. It was a really enjoyable experience, being that it was the first time we've all gotten to do something enjoyable together since our freshman year. And speaking of freshmen, CMI Link Crew hosted a tailgate for the new high schoolers to enjoy, and they had an absolute blast. Here are some photos that capture Link leaders, freshmen, and adults having an amazing time at the tailgate. Moving on to athletics, our athletes here at CMI have been putting in a lot of work and having lots of fun. And our teams have been especially grateful to be utilizing some of our brand new facilities. Pictured here is the girls volleyball team enjoying our gorgeous new gym. Here are more images of CMI sports. On the top left, there's girls varsity volleyball, top right, boys varsity football, and on the bottom left is the middle school football team. And unpictured are cross country and middle school volleyball. In addition to our athletics, our clubs have also been getting back into the swing of things. Clubs and activities such as Black Student Union, Interact Club, Drill and Color Guard teams, ASB, Memorial Honor Detail, Link Crew, CMI Band and Marching Band, Art Club, and Brigade and Battalion staff are available for students to get involved in. In terms of past and upcoming events, we recently had our Kickoff to College, where underclassmen took their PSATs and learned about future college and career, and juniors and seniors were prepared to move into college. We also had our homecoming football game and dance on October 15th. This week, we're having our CMI Spirit Days on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and we'll be having our first pep rally of the year on October 22nd. We also have the boys varsity football senior night on October 22nd. Planned also was the California Cadet Corps Extreme Team Challenge from October 22nd to the 24th, but it has been postponed due to inclement weather. And lastly, we'll have our second Memorial Honor Detail on November 4th. And I know I speak for everyone when I say we're really looking forward to these fun events. Now, in terms of JRTC-related activities, I'd love to briefly introduce the 9th Brigade staff and talk about some of the contributions we've made and are still making to our school. I am the 9th Brigade Commander, and I work with the 9th Brigade Executive Officer, Cadet Captain Abigail Obipot, and the 9th Brigade Command Sergeant Major, Cadet Command Sergeant Major Jordan Burgo. Together, we run a staff of highly motivated, talented cadet leaders. Seen below are some of the events our brigade has facilitated or is planning on participating in. Beginning with state events, some of the state events we participated in the past and hope to participate in again include Extreme Team Challenge, Individual Major Awards, drill competitions, and summer encampment. These programs have always been incredibly beneficial to our cadets, and we want them to continue participating in these amazing activities going forward. We also have facilitated events for the cadets at our school, including Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, in which we train cadets in drill, methods of instruction, and direct leadership, and entrance camp. I would like to briefly talk a little bit more about the new Cadet Orientation, otherwise known as entrance camp. It's honestly one of the best events of the year. It's my personal favorite. This event is designed to prepare new cadets to enter CMI, help them create bonds amongst each other, and hopefully inspire them to strive to be in leadership positions. Our staff put a lot of work into planning for, preparing for, and executing this super unique encampment. Captain Opipot and I actually spent months redesigning the structure of a normal entrance camp to make it safe, fun, and impactful event. So it was really gratifying to see it end successfully. Also, earlier in the summer, we participated in the California Cadet Corps' annual summer encampment. They hosted 11 camps for our constituents to partake in, and our cadets definitely thrived. Pictured are cadets in medic, mountaineering, law enforcement, field skills, and leadership camp. This event was a huge morale booster for leaders that have been home due to the quarantine, and I'd like to quickly add that a lot of our cadet leaders, including myself, worked really hard to make this encampment happen. So it was a really rewarding thing to be a part of. Lastly, I think it's critical that I share the safety measures that have been put in place to ensure the safety of our cadets at state events. In preparation for all events, we plan for a majority of outdoor training and readily available hand washing/sanitization stations. In enclosed spaces, we ensure that there is both ventilation and dioxychloride air system sanitizers. There are also mandatory COVID screenings, and anyone that presents with any symptoms of COVID within 36 hours of departure must report it and may not attend the event. On top of that, there are wellness checks upon arrival and several medic stations available in order to minimize interaction between units. To make sure that no outbreaks occur, there are regular health screenings, social distancing, masks indoors, and heavy sanitization of frequently used areas. All exposed cadets will be isolated, and there is restricted access to exposed cadets. Cadets that test positive will be sent home immediately. All in all, the state medic has very strict guidelines and protocols, and they have been proven to be successful. 10th Corps staff's main priority is the welfare of cadets, so I want to express to you all that we take our safety measures very seriously. But all in all, that concludes my presentation on the California Military Institute, what we do and what we hope to do in the future. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the adults that are present representing CMI. Thank you all for listening and have a great evening.
That was smart.
I'll be voting for her as she runs for president.
Okay, I think I missed the introduction there. Dave,
Was I supposed to introduce?
yeah, I'm sorry. I think can we go backwards? Okay.
Hold on.
It's just important to recognize.
Okay,
the
to introduce the CMI, Cadet Colonel Katura Weeks.
Okay.
Is
that who was
satisfy you?
speaking? Okay. I didn't want her to go not recognized. Okay, so we'll move to the next item, which is 4.2, CMITA, President Angela Love. Angel Love Barons? Barons. Do we have?
I don't see Angel here this evening.
Okay. So we'll move to the next item, 4.3, which is the principal's update.
To share a few highlights and things happening at CMI. But I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to anyone really who was able to provide some amazing professional development for our staff, administrators, classified, certificated last week. And we found out that a lot of us love actually putting bouquets together. Who knew that? That ended up being a winner on our campus. But sincere thanks from all of us at CMI. Some things to celebrate. We were able to collect the 100% of our education benefits. Looked at the number of suspensions today. It was at 7%, which equates to about 0.67% suspension rate. And when you compare that to the California suspension rate of 3.5%, we're doing okay. We were able to, based on the latest numbers, increase the promotion of cadets from about 10% to 60% in the last 4 years. So more of our cadets are promoting, something that we're particularly proud of. We had a visit by Brigadier General Peter Cross a few weeks ago at the gym dedication. He reiterated that CMI, in his opinion, is the best military school in the state. We're going to take that to the bank. 12 seniors are continuing to take college credit courses. We're making that available to them. I'm particularly proud of the fact that we're supporting our English language learners by providing 9 sections of ELD support specifically. In terms of interventions and additional support of students, specifically as it relates to social emotional learning, we're very proud of the fact that so far in terms of just tutoring our students, we're able to serve over 350 so far. Tutoring is available to 100% of the students who attend CMI on campus every day with CMI teachers for all content areas. In particular, we appreciate the PaperCo company, which actually can save teachers some time and evaluate the essays students turn in. It's been very successful. In terms of social emotional learning particularly and interventions that we provide to students, they're happening on a weekly basis using Thrively, ripple effects, and other classroom strategies to support all of our students to feel welcome and heard and supported. A wellness center has been something we're particularly excited about and grateful to have social workers on our campus. They're already making a positive impact with our students. I will share the next slide with you just so that you can see a little bit of the data on that. Let me finish by showing this to you, quantitative data in terms of just social workers working with our students. I want you to look at those numbers. They're pretty telling. 85 students so far, just the school year has started. We have 85 total visits, 45 since October. 18 were considered a crisis, in particular that we were able to intervene. 62 cited feeling overwhelmed by stress, anger, or just anxious, and we were able to serve them now. Some of the qualitative data is also very interesting. I feel safe talking here, students said. The Wellness Center is pretty nice, 10th grader said. And I like being here. It's really calming. So we just want to give thumbs up and appreciate the fact that we have additional support now serving our students. So I will conclude my presentation with that. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nicholas. Next, we're going to move to item 5.1, which is an invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Are there any public comments on the non-agendized items?
We do have one card, Mr. Stafford.
Okay.
Ms. Lopez from CMI. She's a parent of 3 students at CMI.
Okay, I'll have to read the speech. Okay. So these are the rules. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With the board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. In addition, the president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that the additional persons speak clearly or speak only if they have something new to add. So with that, we'll take our first comments.
Ms. Lopez, you're welcome. And Ms. Kelly, thank you.
Pero que me dan 6 minutos porque no me lo vas a traducir. Porque es de 2 veces.
Okay. Or do you want me to just do it? Maybe you better just do it. Grant. Hey, Grant, did you get the text from Jose? Yeah. Okay. I sent one back.
Okay. Muy buenas tardes a todos.
Good evening, everybody.
El día de hoy quiero empezar agradeciendo la oportunidad de participar y ser escuchada en este board.
That I would like to thank everybody for letting me address the board this evening.
Y que aunque el meeting pasado fue un poco largo, fue realmente informativo.
Even though last month's meeting, it was quite long, it was quite informative.
Porque como padre me di cuenta que existen varias autoridades que cuidan los intereses de nuestros hijos.
That as a parent, I realize that there's many authorities that take care of what our children are looking for.
El hecho de que el señor Arauz pidiera justificar cada centavo que pertenece a los estudiantes me hizo darme cuenta que nuestros niños están siendo bien representados en el board.
The fact that Mr. Arauz wanted to find out how much to account for every cent that was spent, it makes me, for whatever it was that they were speaking about, it made me feel very reassured because we are very well represented at the board.
Con respecto a la información que dieron de las computadoras, me gustaría decir que yo creo que necesitamos tecnología más actualizada.
According to the information we were talking about, the computers, I really think that we need to upgrade technology, computers now.
Recordemos que la tecnología avanza muy rápido. Como ejemplo, puedo poner los celulares.
Remember that the technology just flies by, and I can make the example of the cell phones.
También quería preguntar, si me lo permiten, ¿qué se hacen con las computadoras que se compran para tener en reserva y no se usan?
That I would like to also ask, what do you do with the old computers that we have that are on reserve that we no longer use?
Probablemente se encuentren. Con respecto a los libros de texto, tengo una pregunta, si me lo permiten también.
As far as the textbooks, I also have a question, if you allow me.
Que ¿por qué se compran tantos libros de texto si el 70% no se usan? Porque la información los estudiantes la consiguen por medios electrónicos.
Why are we spending so much money in textbooks? 70% of them are not used anymore due to the fact that the students use them in an electronic way. They get their information in an electronic manner rather than on a textbook.
Pero la razón principal por la que estoy aquí
But the main reason I am here,
es una petición.
it's a petition.
Mi petición ante el board son los zapatos para los estudiantes de CMI para el uniforme clase B.
The petition is for the shoes for the cadets, for the shoes for the uniform, Class B.
Ustedes saben, ¿puedo continuar? ¿Está bien si continúo?
Kenshi, pasa.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Ustedes saben que CMI es una escuela que por ser militar es muy reconocida.
Even you very well, very much know that CMI is quite recognized as a military school.
Estudiantes de otras ciudades, vecinas y distritos están aquí porque es una escuela militar.
Other schools in surrounding counties as well are here because it's a recognized school.
Y es importante que el buen nombre y el prestigio de la escuela siga siendo reconocido.
And it's important that the good prestige of the school keeps on being recognized.
Para mí los zapatos son importantes porque en cada desfile de veteranos, en competencias y dentro de desfiles de la ciudad de Perris,
It's very important because shoes are very important because while we go on parades, with other competing areas,
el uniforme completo es parte de la percepción de otras personas
and the complete uniform is somebody else's perception,
y esto motiva a que los padres sigan recomendando nuestra escuela.
and this motivates other parents to continue talking about CMI and referring CMI to other families.
Esto elevaría grandemente la tasa de inscripción y reinscripción a nuestra escuela y distrito.
This would very much increase registration, further registration for the school in the future.
Hablé con un sargento y me explicó que esto lo provee ROTC.
I spoke to a sergeant and that ROTC has everything to do with it. It promotes it.
Pero este año no se pudo por el costo.
But this year we couldn't do it due to the cost.
Por eso acudo a ustedes con mucho respeto.
That's why I come to you with with deep respect.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
We have one more from CMI. Maria Saldado, mom of 2 students regarding reclassification of ELD students.
Gracias. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Salado.
My name is Maria Salado. Good afternoon.
Es mi primera vez aquí
It's my first time here,
y espero venir más veces.
and I hope to come more
Ah,
often.
Gracias por su tiempo y por su espacio.
Thank you for your time and your space.
La razón por la que estoy aquí
The reason why I am here,
es porque estoy preocupada.
I am worried.
Yo y varias personas, pares mamás
Other
de otros
moms
hijos
and me about their children.
que toman la clase de ELD.
They are taking the ELD class.
Mi hijo está en el grado 11, tengo dos, uno en el grado 8 y en el grado 11.
I have two children, one in 8th grade and the other one in 12th.
El del grado 11 me preocupa por el motivo de que va a ir a la universidad y no ha sido reclasificado.
And my 11th grader is going to university, however, he has not been reclassified.
No está tomando clases de ELD,
But he's not
entonces
taking ELD
no
classes.
está teniendo las armas suficientes para poder pasar esa clase.
But he doesn't have enough information, enough, tools. Thank you very much back there. Thank you. Enough tools, so that he can continue and apply.
Ajá. Y yo quisiera que él ya fuera reclasificado. Realmente él tiene muy buenos grados. No se me hace como congruente que no pase esa clase y en inglés lleva una A.
He has very good grades, and I want him to get reclassified because he has an A in that class. He's doing very well. So it's not, congruent.
Y creo que es todo.
¿Es todo?
Sí, creo.
And that's it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
¿Es todo?
Sí,
Okay.
creo que sí.
We had one more submitted, Mr. Stafford.
Okay.
Yadira Estevez from CMI regarding uniforms.
Buenas tardes, yo también soy
Good
la
afternoon.
primera vez que vengo.
This is the first time I'm here.
Mi presencia aquí es porque, al igual que las otras madres, me preocupa
I am worried, as well as the other ladies, the other moms,
la educación de mis hijos.
my children's education.
En este último tiempo yo he visto, de regreso al COVID aquí,
Since COVID, the return of COVID,
me he encontrado con que pues los uniformes que se les están proporcionando
that the uniforms that are being provided,
pues están siendo como no incompletos, sino les falta, o unos tienen chamarras, otros no tienen chamarras.
some of the uniforms are lacking. Some have
Yo
the
comprendo.
jackets, some don't have jackets.
Yo comprendo que el presupuesto a veces no es suficiente,
I understand that sometimes, it's not enough, the money is not enough.
como en este caso de los zapatos también, que es un uniforme de gala, es una escuela militar.
As well as the shoes, it's the uniform is like a gala, it's a military uniform.
Y los militares, si
Military
hay alguna aquí militar, sabe que portar un uniforme significa algo para la nación.
school, that being in the military, it's very important to have the correct uniform to represent, your country.
Desde los colores, las insignias, el cinto,
Insignias,
zapatos,
The belts, the shoes.
el estar bien vestidos es importante para mí y para
well
nuestra
dressed,
escuela.
to be
¿Por
well
qué?
dressed.
Porque es militar.
Why? Because it's military.
No es otra escuela donde se lleva un uniforme.
It's not another school that doesn't have a uniform.
Y entonces siento que debería ser un poquito más pulcro el uniforme en ese aspecto.
That it should be better, nicer, the uniform.
Incluso yo hablé con un sargento y me explica la situación.
And I spoke to a sergeant and
Y en
he
este
explained-
punto,
he explained the situation. And
yo
at
le
this
digo
point, I told him
que si es posible, que si no se le puede proporcionar a todos los alumnos porque no hay costo, los padres podremos buscar cómo aportar o quién nos aporte
that if the school
presupuesto
cannot-
para que nuestros cadetes estén bien vestidos.
that if the school cannot provide the uniforms, we as parents can look elsewhere and see where we can get or where we can provide the monies
Probablemente no es
to make it
un
look
punto
sharp.
malo de la administración, quiero referirme al señor Milo o a lo que es la escuela, sino que el presupuesto que se nos asigna no es
And it's
suficiente.
not directly towards Mr. Milos, it's just the budget that's been presented.
Pero como repito, es una escuela militar y debe ser representada como militar.
But it's a
Gracias.
military school and has to be represented as such. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other cards this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. I'm sure all your comments were heard and notes taken, and hopefully you can get with your administrators and work through some of those difficulties. Okay, staff will be reaching out to you. Okay. We're going to go to item 6.1, the consent calendar, approval of consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed under the consent calendar?
So moved.
Trustee
Second.
Nelson. Second is Trustee Vallejo. Please vote electronically. I think we need one.
Hold on,
Okay.
it desynced, so I have to try to.
Okay.
Desynced.
Desynced. Unsynchronized. There we go.
Okay, the vote was 4-1 with 4 in favor and 1 absent. We move to the next item, which is written report 7.1 discipline, September 2021 monthly suspension report. Our next item is item 8.1, personnel, certificated personnel action items for October 2021.
So moved. It's an action-
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Yeah, motion was Trustee Nelson, and second is Dr. Freeman. Okay. Please vote electronically. Upon the vote being taken, the vote is 4 in favor with 1 absence. Next item is classified personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo. Please vote electronically. The vote is 4 in favor with 1 absence. Next item is 8.3, business, report of purchases for September 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Nelson, Trustee Freeman. Please vote. The vote on 8.3 business report of purchases for 2021 is 4 in favor and 1 absence. Next, we move to item 9.1, other items by the superintendent.
I just want to thank Dr. Milos for the tour the other day, looking around the school. I meet with each principal monthly, and I was at CMI, so we got to go see some things. And it's going to sound crazy, but I thought the remodel of all the student restrooms was huge for that school. Those bathrooms were still from the 1950s. So they got to remodel and look sharp, and it's a proud point for that school to have quality restrooms for our students.
Okay. Thank you, Superintendent Bennett. Information item 10.1, other items by the Board of Trustees. We'll start with Trustee Vallejo.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share that I went to the CMI grand opening earlier, and it was really, really nice. It was nice seeing all the teachers and students there, and it was a very memorable moment to share with the rest of the people on what all these students deserve. And I'm very proud of CMI in general, the students, the staff. You guys are doing amazing. and you guys deserve all the recognition involved, and I'm just really glad that you guys are doing well, and if you guys ever need help, we're all here to help you out.
Thank you. Trustee Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I would also like to say that, first of all, I missed the grand opening because I had to work. I'm sorry about that. But I would like to thank Dr. Milosevic for taking me on a tour today, and I got a chance to see the wellness center that you talked about, got a chance to see the gym and how awesome that is. And it's been, ever since I've been on the board, almost 10 years now, it's been something that we've been hoping to get done, and to actually see it there completed in use. It's a really great site. And I would like to echo Brigadier General Peter Cross's statement of we already know that CMI is the best military school in the state of California, but it's glad that he's on board finally with that. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. Trustee Freeman.
Thank you. I would just like to reiterate what the other trustees have said. It's all wonderful, great, and I just look forward to seeing that CMI has another fantastic year.
Thank you, Trustee Freeman. And myself, I was able to visit the campus and take a tour with Principal Milosevic. Really enjoyed touring the whole campus and seeing the big picture. The gym is fabulous. I was able to attend the dedication. That was great to sit with the general and the mayor and see the students in the band and all the people that made it happen. And it was really something for me to see because I used to work right next door in the maintenance yard and go to the school all the time. So I was very familiar with the school and all of its staff. So very, very proud of what we've accomplished and hope to do much, much more. So thank you so much. So from there, we're going to move to an action item, 11.1, adjournment.
So moved.
Trustee Nelson.
Second.
Motion. Trustee Vallejo. You can vote electronically. After a vote on 11.1 adjournment, the vote is 4 in favor with 1 absence. So upon the vote being taken, the meeting is adjourned at 5:51 p.m. So we're going to move back to our other meeting. And you can join the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. Debbie.
So at the regular board meeting of the Paris Union High School District is going to reconvene at 5:52 p.m. We'll start with 8.1. I had something else up there. 8.1, revision, adoption, ordering of agenda for October 20th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson.
Second.
Trustee Freeman. You can vote electronically. Upon a vote being taken on 8.1, revision and ordering of agenda, passes 4 in favor with 1 absence. We move now to oral reports. This is information item 9.1, report out of closed session.
Yes, we have one item to report out of closed session. In closed session by a vote of 4-0, the Board of Trustees approved the appointment of Hector Gonzalez as the Director of Facilities and Services effective March 1st, 2022. Congratulations, Hector. And the man he's replacing, that he is retiring, stepped outside, so we can't thank Art right now, but we'll do that another time.
We'll get back to him.
And that concludes the report out of closed session, Mr. Stafford.
Okay. Thank you, Superintendent Bennett. We'll move now to item 9.2, information item, district update by the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Stafford. A few things I just want to report. There's Art that came in. Thank you, Art. We just voted on your replacement.
Okay.
Something we started, we've been doing with the certificate members for a long time, the PRC process. We started the CRC process with our classified members, and the president's here. The cabinet meets with their exec board, and we work through problems that are happening in the district or information that we can share. And I think it's going to make a big difference on the relationship we have with CSCA as we continue to move forward. So thank you for agreeing to that, Josh. We also started a PRC with CMI. They've been kind of on their own, but we started PRC process like we have with the PSCA. So we're looking at continuing to improve the relationships we have with all our different groups. Last week we had 2 days of professional development, not your normal 2 days of professional development. With what's gone on with COVID and the struggles everyone's having trying to get back to work, and we just couldn't see throwing one more thing on their plate. What's the new thing going to be for this year? We wanted to reduce the stress for all of our staff members. So they had some really cool things. They had masseuses. I didn't know if that's plural or not. The English teacher told me it was. They had yoga people there. They had giant Jenga, and they had some other games they could play. But also involved, we had Dr. Joelle Hood come and talking about wellness, and she wasn't there. It was virtual. So we had a lot of different things, and we wanted to really give back the gift of time for some of our staff because everyone's been so pressured and pushed all along. Having some time to get teachers in their classroom and classified members to be able to meet and have their what they need to do. So I want to thank Bob Bruff and the Ed Services team for what they did to make that happen, and Kirk with what he did with some of the classified people. Thank you all. Yes, Audrey and her and getting I didn't talk about the food. We had food trucks come from different places to serve lunch for the staff. So that was kind of a cool thing. They had a box lunch one day from Jersey Mike's, and then a food truck coming to the school a different day. So it was a cool thing, and we're glad we could do that for our staff. Yesterday, I was able to be in a tour of Liberty High School with all the big mucky mucks at MSJC. Roger Schultz was there. His deans of instruction from all the different areas were there. So we got to show them around, and they were super impressed with what we have going there. So we're looking at extending our relationships that we have with MSJC to put more dual enrollment things, concurrent enrollment, bringing their professors over to work at our school. So it was a very positive event. This Thursday, the very first ever A Street rivalry game. A Street rivalry game for CMI versus Pinacate Middle School football game, tackle football game, and they're going to play it at Paris High. So it's a great thing, build the camaraderie amongst our schools, and that would be a fun thing. Friday night is the first night football game at Liberty High School. They're playing Castaic from up by Magic Mountain area. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be fun, the kids, and getting to be there at the first Friday night light game at their own school. Last Wednesday, we had our Kickoff to College event, and it went really well, just like it has every year. Ed Services, again, I think Julie heads that one up. Julie Zerold heads that up and works with the counselors to make it happen. But it's always a really strong event for our kids, and opens their eyes on some things. And the last thing I have is I attended the Menifee Bowl on November 1st. October 1st, sorry. That's a typo on my own list here. Thank you, Mr. Stein. And
You were there from 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks from now?
it was a good game for the first quarter. and then it kind of went downhill from there, but it's a nice event. The kids everyone gets really excited about that game as it comes in, and they make a whole lot of money on they fill the stand. So it was no one got hurt badly, and everyone had a good time. So that'll conclude my report for tonight, Mr. Stafford.
Thank you, Superintendent Bennett. We'll go down to item 9.3, student representatives to the Board of Trustees. So our first introduction will be by Trustee Nelson.
Okay, thank you very much. From Heritage High School, we'll hear from student representatives Michaela Jacobs and Caden Olmos. Eventually we will.
Needs some buffering.
Yep, it's just like buffering.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. My name is Kaden Olmos.
And I'm Michaela Jacobs. We're excited to show you what has been going on here at Heritage in the month of October.
The Menifee Bowl took place on October 1st, and a rivalry game is what we needed. Heritage started off rough with Paloma scoring first, but our football team put their heads together and made a comeback to take home the trophy for the 11th year straight with the 47-10 victory. Looking forward to hosting the Menifee Bowl at home next year.
Homecoming week was really busy, but it ended up being really successful. The theme for homecoming was Once Upon a Time. Many students got involved with Spirit Week this time around, especially the upperclassmen. The varsity football team unfortunately lost 21-14 against Temescal Canyon, but many people enjoyed the halftime performance with incredible performances from cheer, dance, and band ending off with the royal family. Our homecoming dance was awesome, just being shy of 1,200 students attending. With it being outdoors, many students enjoyed it since the air was fresh and wasn't compact in the gym. A big improvement we need to work on is to check in for students and make sure it's more fast and effective. But once students entered the dance, they had a blast.
Kickoff to College took place last week, where freshmen focused on college and careers that were based on their interests. Sophomores and juniors focused on the PSAT, and seniors worked on their college applications or career options that ended with seniors taking their senior panoramic photo.
Here are a few upcoming events. Varsity girls qualified for CIF, which starts Thursday. Varsity girls tennis senior night is tonight. Pep rally, varsity football, cheer senior night is October 22nd. Fall play is October 23rd. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nightmare. The Mighty Patriot Regiment competition is October 23rd. The Link Crew Fall Festival is October 27th, and senior presentations are November 4th.
That concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for the continued support of what we do at Heritage. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. That was Heritage High School. Our next introduction, Trustee Freeman will introduce the Liberty High School student representatives.
The next presentation will be by Moina Mu.
Members of the board, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. My name is Moyana Mu, and I am Liberty High School's ASB Vice President. Here are some of the things going on at Liberty High. We started out the month with the opening of our student union on October 13th. The student union is a place where students may eat lunch, hold meetings, and can be used as a fun, collaborative, and open environment. Following this, we participated in Kickoff to College, where 9th graders took an interest survey on California colleges and further explored career options based on the results. 10th graders took the PSAT, which gave them practice for the SAT, and opened them up to scholarship opportunities. In order to showcase the clubs here at LHS, we held a club rush on October 18th, where clubs got the opportunity to advertise themselves to their peers and gain members. Some of those clubs include Key Club, Theater Trope, Esports, Art Club, Women of Will, Pride Heroes, Girls Soccer, and D&D Club. During the week of October 18th through 22nd is our second Herd Harvest Spirit Week, and on October 22nd is our Herd Harvest football game and Staff Appreciation Barbecue. The Herd Harvest Ball will be taking place on October 23rd, and we have an upcoming canned food drive on November 1st through 17th. Staff Members of the Month. We also celebrated Staff Members of the Month. This month, we recognized Ms. Webb and Mr. Padilla. This concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for your support in making Liberty High School happen.
Okay, thank you. That was Heritage. Liberty.
Liberty.
I'm sorry, that was Liberty High School. Next is myself introducing Paloma Valley High School student representatives Megan McCanagay and Cassie Madigril, if I pronounced that correctly.
Nothing like chasing your tail.
There it is.
There you go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Megan Makatangay. I'm this year's PVHS ASB Secretary.
And I'm Cassie Madrigal, and I'm this year's ASB Social Media Chair.
And we're here to update you guys on the things PVHS has been up to for the past few weeks.
That was good.
So we had our first homecoming since COVID started on the 18th of September. We had over 1,000 students attend. It was outdoors and it was High School Musical themed.
And before our homecoming, we had our Hogo Spirit Week, and it went with the theme of High School Musical. On Monday, we had the start of something new, which is College and Career Day. On Tuesday, we had Fabulous, which is Wear All the Bling You Can. Then we had Stick to the Status Quo, Jock versus Scholar Day. What Time Is It, which is Wear Your Best Summer Outfit. And We're All This Together, which is where we wear maroon. And a lot of students were able to participate.
Following that, we also had our night rally the day before our homecoming game, and we had performance by Ohana, ASO, our RTC did a hybrid. We also had amazing dances by Exclusives, Pep Squad, Powerpuff, and Anomalous. We had an amazing turnout of students and parents, and that night, we also announced our homecoming court.
Then we had our football games. So over the few weeks, we had homecoming, the Menifee Ball, and the Pinnacle game. There was a great turnout from students and parents. There was also very high energy from the student section, which is our maroon platoon, and there were performances by the Exclusives, Varsity Cheer, Song, and the Wildcat Brigade.
Last Wednesday, we also had our Kickoff to College. We had students doing their reality check and career search, their college search, being able to look at financial aid, and also career presentations.
Lastly, we had our senior panoramic, which is on the same day as our Kickoff to College, so it was last week. And some of our upcoming events, ASB plans to help advertise clubs on campus by doing a trick or treat, where students could go from classroom to classroom learning about different clubs and being able to get candy. We also have our volleyball playoffs coming up. ASB plans on hyping up the girls volleyball team for being league champs by showing up to their game. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
Okay, that was Paloma Valley High School. I'll take the next spot. Student representatives from Paris High School, Representative Daisy Sanchez.
Good evening, President Arauz and board members, and good evening to Superintendent Bennett and Cabinet. My name is Daisy, and I'm your class rep here for ASB at Paris High, and I'm here to remind you guys what's been going on for the past few weeks here at Paris High. First off, we had our COVID vaccination clinic, which we're super proud to say we're the first in the district, and we had a pretty good turnout. 38 students showed up to the first dose, and another 30 came back for their second. And of those 30, we have 5 who won their very own free yearbook, so congrats to them. And then after that, we headed with our back to school night. Unfortunately, it was virtual, but it's okay because we still had our parents who were able to meet with our teachers, so the connection was there. Next was our homecoming week. It kicked off with our very own Spirit Week, where we had our student advisors who surprised everyone by showing up as a bunch of thing ones and things twos. And then we had a bunch of other students who showed up and dressed up as iconic duos. And a lot of people, I think Friday ended off with decades. So people chose their favorite decades and came dressed as whatever they wanted. After that, of course, comes the homecoming rally. And it was an amazing turnout. We have here before and after pictures of what our setup looked like. And the turnout was amazing. Unfortunately, we did have a fire alarm go off in between sets. So our second rally got cut off a little bit. But it's okay because our first rally went amazing, and you can even see right now how into it our student advisors were with their outfits. It was amazing. Our homecoming game, it was really fun. We had, again, a great turnout. And unfortunately, our Panthers couldn't take that W, but these people did. And during halftime, we got to celebrate our royalty winners with an awesome parade showing off some nice convertibles too. We had performances by cheer, dance, and JROTC who tied it back into the game. And after that, of course, comes homecoming dance. It was an amazing turnout. We had a lot of fun here. The theme was Festival of Fame, and everyone danced the night away, so it was a great night. Sadly, our seniors are saying goodbye to fall sports for the last time as they are coming to an end. We wanted to commemorate them though, so we had our senior nights, and here are some pictures of girls volleyball. We had a great game. Yeah, we're gonna miss them, but it's okay. They did great. Kickoff to College was next, and Mr. Rodriguez, and our very own Miss Cooper hung out with these really cool group of students whose plan is to go to community college, having them themselves gone through that process. And they seemed really happy to help. This brings us to the end of our presentation, so it's goodbye for now, but make sure to follow us on our socials because we're social, so you should be too. Bye, have a nice day.
Okay, that was Paris High School. Next, Trustee Vallejo will introduce Pinacate Middle School student representatives.
Please welcome Belinda Hain and Adrina Leon.
President Dr. Adels, school board members, Mr. Bennett, and members of the cabinet. I am Belinda Hain, and with me today is
Adrina Leon.
Pinacate Middle School ASB Presentation 2021. Let's go Pumas! What has happened in Pinacate Middle School, also known as PMS? Great things have happened and will happen this month.
The Puma Lounge and Market have opened. When students earn Puma points from teachers, school administrators, and campus supervisors, they use their points for the following, such as Puma shirts, different items, pencils, notebooks, VIP events, Rubik's Cubes, etc. Puma Lounge board games, massage chairs, foosball table, free entry based on status, and much more. This makes students want to work harder, earn points, and build a positive attitude/community.
High school already. Pumas have earned different high school statuses during the first 6 weeks grading period. The statuses are based on a specific criteria that we have shared on the next slide. We have a total of 60 students with the gold status, 110 students with the silver status, 128 students with the bronze status, 199 students with the royal blue status, and 53 students with the platinum status.
We had a total of 550 students being high school ready. They all received Puma points for them to redeem at the store and entry to all Puma Lounge. Tackle football 1 and 5, flag football 1 and 3, cross country nothing, volleyball A 2 and 3, volleyball B 0 and 2.
That's for athletics. The standings do not reflect the hard work and effort that all the athletes put in. We are proud of our team because they practice hard, play hard, and represent us with pride. UNO Tournament. The UNO Tournament is a 3-week tournament where students sign up to play during lunchtime in the first 2 weeks. The winners for the first 2 rounds will get to play in the final round for week 3, where staff will also be invited to come play against the winners. And the winner of the final round will be crowned UNO champion and earn 200 Puma points.
Kickoff to College. We had Kickoff to College on Wednesday, October 13th. We had Kickoff to College. All 8th graders took the PSAT. All 7th graders were working on activities in classes.
Here are some photos of our Kickoff to College pictures, where on October 13th, ASB students and cheer dance squad get students pumped, and here are some pictures.
Web Leaders, where everyone belongs. The Web podcast is where each month Web students interview a staff member and ask all 11 questions. 5 of the questions are on the fun side. 4 questions are related to the theme of the month, August, being a good leader, September, and
Anti-hate, October, kindness.
1 question is where the interview creates a question for the next guest, and they also answer a question asked by the last guest. The students come up with the questions and for all of the interview.
Panel to operate the camera.
Here are the links to the first 2 episodes.
Pinacate upcoming events. Red Ribbon Week on October 25th to the 29th. Lunch Rally on October 20th. During both lunches, get ready for the 8th Street Bowl, Pinacate versus CMI on Thursday, October 21st at 6 p.m. at Paris High School. Game Truck on October 20th, an incentive for students who redeem their Puma points to purchase their ticket. And excuse us. And the Greatest Shakeout, October 21st. Students and staff will be participating in the Great Shakeout and the statewide event.
We would like to leave you with this thought.
Circumstance may knock you down, but don't let it stop you from being who you want to be. Thank you for your attention. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you to all the student representatives. We'll move now to item 9.4, which is PSEA President Jason Miller.
How many times have we heard a story in the news about a celebrity or a successful business person get married for the second, third, or fourth time? Venerated and successful people are sometimes respected in the outward persona, but if you spend a few hours with them, they may be quite unlikable people. A threat to all of us is not nuclear bombs or COVID-19 or terrorism. A large looming threat that is often ignored is failed relationships. Probably didn't see that one coming. So many problems or successes can be tied back to the relationships people have, either between individuals or between groups. The same idea is so powerful in education as well. Teachers relating to students, teachers relating to teachers, teachers relating to parents, teachers relating to administrators. There is so much human interaction in our profession, and it's a relationship chain, right? Administrators relate to employees, employees and teachers relate to students. When it comes to a teachers union, a very wise person made an astute analogy. It's like the district and union being married without the option for divorce. So what happens? They either live in misery together or work to have a strong marriage. I am glad that in our district we have a strong marriage. Many surrounding districts are surprised at what our union does to solve problems with the district, particularly in using the SRC-PRC process to keep that marriage strong. We sit down and work out the problems, looking for solutions. Are there disagreements? Sure. Sometimes, yes, even the union is wrong or unreasonable. Is there widespread animosity? Nope. In our district, there is widespread sense of trying to solve problems or improve what we are already doing. If union leadership does not relate to its members, they are often replaced. Those are called elections. Relationships have to be a priority for all of us, bosses to employees, teachers to students, teachers to teachers, colleagues to colleagues, leaders to employees and members. When people say students need to come first, please remember that it's the teachers that are having the most common and direct interactions with many, let's say 216 student-teacher interactions per day for most teachers. That's a lot of interactions. Students need their teachers and they need their educators. While administrators have an important role, Their way of supporting students is a little different and is not always through direct student interaction. So policy should be tailored to help those that are directly interacting with the students so that they have the best support for a relationship. All leaders should be working on the relationship they have with those they lead. Administrators lead employees, and while their relationships with students can be important, the relationships with employees are equally important. I'm not making any commentary on any one administrator's or any one union officer's leadership or relationship performance. I just wanted to express how PSEA views the role of relationship in being leaders. And on a side note, I do want to thank Bob Bruff and Kirk Skorpanich and Audrey, is it Audrey? Yes. Who put together the wellness piece in the training days and the time for learning and lesson development for the teachers. That was so important for all of us. Thank you for this time to speak. Oops.
Thank you, President Rushing.
Miller.
Oh, Miller, I'm sorry. I'm moving on to Josh already. Okay. Now 9.5, CSEA President Josh Rushing.
I got to follow that somehow. All right. Thank you guys for this opportunity to speak. I want to keep it short and to the point. First, we'll start with the not so happy news. I saw on the agenda tonight you guys are voting on a possible raise for subs. I agree, we need subs. Most of the members in CSEA are chasing their tails around trying to figure out ways to not take personal time to handle their business that they have to handle. So while I agree that we need to do everything we can to retain subs, we also need to do everything we can to retain our employees. So we meet on Friday. I'm going to leave it at that. We have negotiations on Friday, so I hope the board has approved a nice package to help keep our staff happy. And now we'll move on to happy stuff. The wellness activities we had during PD time was amazing. I don't think I heard from even people that were skeptic about like, oh, this is going to be super. They were laughing like little kids at the video game room at Liberty. There may have been a group of people that brought extra games for us to play. Thank you, technology. Shameless plug. But yeah, I think, you know, while it was a necessity this year, I hope we can work out a way to keep that going because it was nice to have time to either get caught up on work, just relax, be with your fellow coworkers, and just be people and not have to worry about bouncing from training to training, trying to keep up with the day. So with that, thank you for this time, and I'll see you next month.
Okay, thank you, Josh. I'll stick to first names. Okay. We'll move now to another oral item, 9.6, comments by the Board of Trustees. We'll start with Trustee Vallejo.
Hello. Yeah, I just want to use my report to say congratulations, Hector, for that job. I think you will do amazing. I'm very happy for you. I also want to say how really happy I am to see the student engagement, the school spirit, all these schools are doing all these events, many students going to football games or any type of sporting events. That's really, really great to see. Like, I want to see more student engagement, more parents also coming along too. I'm very excited by the way we're going with this district. So I just want to say that I'm very happy that that is going on. And you guys are all like each and every one of you guys are doing great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Next, Trustee Nelson.
Thank you. I'd also like to congratulate Hector on the position that he was appointed to today. I know he'll do an awesome job there, and like he does for everything he does for our district. I would also like to thank Mr. Harrell. He led me on a tour today at Heritage High School. I haven't had a chance to be on that campus since before quarantine, essentially, and all of last year was virtual. So I got a chance to see the campus in action and got a chance to see the pool being created and everything. Right now, it's just a big hole in the ground, but it'll look great when it's done. I know they all will, and so I'd just like to thank him for his time and leading me around, and hope everybody's having a great beginning of some first. What are we at? 11 weeks of school now, 12 weeks of school, something like that. First great session of school, and hope everybody goes well going into the Christmas break.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. Trustee Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Recent meetings have had us listening to parents providing the school board with opinions regarding COVID-19 vaccines and wearing masks indoors. We were challenged to make a stand. Since the Brown Act prohibits school board members from directly addressing public comments at the time, I am providing where I stand at this time. 1, currently, all persons at school must wear masks indoors. This is non-negotiable. 2, those who choose not to abide this mandate are solely responsible for the consequences of their decision. 3, those who choose not to be vaccinated for any reason are solely responsible for the consequences of their decision. Some students may require accommodations. Arrange for a 504 meeting to identify those accommodations that can be made and will be provided in the classroom. 5, this school district has been and will continue to provide free vaccinations and meals for our students. We provide free vaccinations for all. Anyone who does not participate in these services are free to abide by their choice not to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Freeman. Myself, just would like to thank the sites that I visited, CMI and Heritage. Was able to see the pool also, the hole in the ground, which is going to be a fine pool, I can tell by being familiar with that site. I'm amazed at how fast all the construction is going, and just want to congratulate Hector for moving up into the position he's going to take, and I think he'll do great at it and is well suited. Also would like to thank our pastor, not passed yet, but Art Fritz. I mean, he's been, I've worked for him. He's a pleasure to work with and really cares about the district, and we certainly appreciate everything he's done. Yeah, Pastor Fritz. Okay. No.
He's been pasteurized.
So there's been a lot of adjustments we've had to make during this year, and I think everyone has done a great job at it. I was glad to see the custodians and see all the new people that we have and be able to touch bases with them. Because staff changes and we don't always know, so we have to reach out and find out who the people are and make sure they know that we're there for them. So it was a pleasure to get out there to the sites. Now with that, we're going to move on to item 10.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Are there any public comments on non-agendized items?
We do have 2 cards this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay.
I'm going to call you doctor now.
Okay. I have to read the statement below because the answer is yes. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. In addition, the president may take a poll of speakers for or against particular issue and may ask that the additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. So with that, Grant will read the names.
Our first speaker this evening on mandates, Emily Lyon.
Good evening. I'm back, and I was here last time. My name's Emily Lyon. I'm a parent of a student at Paloma Valley High School. First comment is about the masks. I hope you realize that every parent wants to protect their child and keep them healthy. Okay, if I really thought they were effective, I would be 100% on board. But there's a bigger picture here. We have to consider not only physical effects, we also have to consider the mental effects. There's more to our overall health than just the physical, even getting sick. I mean, it's terrible to get sick, but mental health is probably equally important to our overall health. And this is damaging kids. And I personally think suicide is a bigger concern for more of our students than COVID itself. As for COVID, the whole natural immunity thing is being ignored, which is very frustrating to me because more and more data is showing that natural immunity is actually better protection than the vaccine itself. So for all of those positive COVID cases, I guess that's the silver lining. We have several students that now are blessed with natural immunity. As for the vaccine mandates, I myself as a mother am sickened by them. My primary role in their life is to protect them, and to think that my kids are not going to be able to have the same opportunities as other children because I'm protecting their health and making the decision I feel is best for them is just, it's alarming and it's disheartening and it's sickening all at the same time. Also, I'm not sure why we're only testing the unvaccinated. If we're really trying to protect people, I really need you to ask yourselves, why are we only testing the unvaccinated when we now know that anyone can spread it? Another thing, if funds are being dispersed based on enforcing these mandates, that is a problem in itself. If money is the driving force behind going along with these mandates, then you should be ashamed of yourself, and you cannot tell me that you actually care about students. You need to do some research and you need to look into this. If I walked into a doctor's office and was diagnosed with cancer, that would be alarming, of course, but if they told me I had a 99% chance of surviving it, I would actually walk out feeling pretty good, and yet we're letting fear consume us in our current culture. And it's taking away freedoms that shouldn't be taken away. The freedom of choice should still remain. Just like you can choose to not treat your cancer if that's what you choose. No one knows the long-term effects of these vaccines. No one, because it's not long-term yet, you guys. So nobody can sit there and say to your face, we know that it's safe and effective in the long term. Nobody knows that. We don't know that until down the road. Zantac thought that was safe. That had full FDA approval. And here we are many years later, and now it's banned. Why? Because it's known to cause cancer. So these are things I'm just asking you. Once again, I'm not asking you to ban masks. I'm not asking you to ban vaccines. What I am asking you is to respect my choice and the choice of other parents to choose what we feel is best for our students. The thought of, I've kept my kids in the public school because the public school honestly has served my children well. Okay, I've been a teacher in the public school. I have a heart for the public school system, but I will not jeopardize my kids' health just so they can stay in a school system. So if this goes through and the mandates are made, you will be losing many good students and families that care about their children. Thank you for your time.
We have a second speaker, Jade Lyon, on masks and vax mandates.
Good evening, Board. As I said at the last board meeting, my name is Jade and I am a 10th grade student at PVHS. I'm here again to voice my opinion on masks and mainly focus on the vaccine mandate that has been put in place for us students. First, masks. I will repeat what I said last meeting, which is that us students, as well as any staff members, should have the personal choice to wear a mask in the classroom. I went back and watched the last board meeting, and when I got to the end of the board meeting, at 3 hours and 52 minutes to be exact, Dr. Freeman, you pulled down your mask, and you did not pull it up for about the last 20 minutes of the meeting. I actually don't fault you for this. I applaud you. I'm glad you took it off. Because now you know how when I'm tired like you were and I'm out of breath from my mask, I wish I could take it down just like you did without any consequences. But no, I'd be sent to the office and get who knows what punishment because I took it off so I could breathe. This is also not, like my mom said, this is not only damaging us physically, but it's also damaging us mentally. You are sending in office staff to our classes to make sure we are properly wearing our masks, which is disrupting our classes. If the masks are so great and so effective, why do we still have to quarantine or test negative? I'll let you guys answer that question. The next thing is the new requirement for students to be vaccinated per the government mandate. I know you guys get your funding from the government, but how does the government know what's best for my health? Why should the government be telling you guys to enforce something that may cause harm to me, and you guys claim to keep us safe and far from harm? Don't tell me if I don't put something in my body that is detrimental to my beliefs means I cannot come to school. Now, I'm not sure on the total number, but you know how many people participated in the walkout on Monday. And that's a reflection of how many students and staff members you may lose if you choose to enforce this mandate. When this mandate goes into place, I'm asking you on my behalf and all the students that are opposed to this mandate to not make us find other schooling options and let us stay in the school of our choice. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's the end of our public comments. We'll move now to the consent calendar. Item 11.1, consent calendar, approval of consent calendar items. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Nelson. You can vote electronically. On a vote being taken on 11.1, the vote is 4 in favor with 1 absence. We'll now move to oral reports continued. Item 12.1, COVID-19 update.
Good evening, Board, Vice President Stafford, Mr. Grant, and Cabinet. We wanted to give you the update that we give you once a month. If we could go to the next slide, please. I was happy to see that Mr. Stafford observed that moment of silence. This is some national data that 729,885 people have lost their lives since this tragedy has descended upon us. I haven't checked this statistically, but a friend shared with me the other day. He's a historian. He said that we've lost more people to COVID than in all the wars we've ever fought, including the American Civil War. That's a daunting number. So I want to thank you for that moment of silence. If we could go to the next slide. These are our Riverside numbers. On the right, you have last month, the cases, 337,921. It is up slightly a month later at 376,008. And although we do see, even though the numbers are up, the death toll is down. It does, I think that statistic is a little testament to our first responders, our medical people who have been such champions in this, and they're getting better and better at treating people that are succumbing to COVID. If we could go to the next one. This is one that you've seen before, but it does update the total number of cases for California, the positivity rate 2.0, the total deaths for California 70,593. It's about 82 souls a day in our state. Again, a sobering thing to think about as we listen to these public comments and the burden that you share as the board and being protectors of our children. This is not anything to be taken lightly, and 82 people on this day. If we could go to the next one. We shared this with you before. Each time we try to give you a little different data because in the face of equity, it's important to remember how our different communities are suffering under this. We know that this is 19% higher for our Latino families, 44% higher for our Pacific Islander families, 15% higher for our African American families, and 33% higher for our families of poverty. So, we are protectors of all students, but we certainly want to be conscious of our most at-risk and vulnerable populations. It's just daunting to think about that. If we could go to the next one. This sort of reiterates that last slide, but again, we wanted to each time bring you something kind of new if we could. And this is a correlation between the number of cases and your income average. And you can see for families that make over $120,000, it's only 5.5, that they have more resources. They have ability to protect themselves, perhaps better diets. There's lots of reasons. They tend to have less pre-existing conditions. And you can see that as income goes down, that case number goes up. For our families making 100 to 120, 7.9, 80 to 100, 8.6, 60 to 80, 9.6, and so on to families that are under 40,000, 13.2. So just a reminder that we serve all students. Some of you mentioned earlier that we've made inoculations available to our at-risk, all of our students, but we do free meals. We do as much as we can. We've really tried, many of you voted for Care Solace over 2 years ago, which is an advocacy group that supports our families as they reach out for health care, mental health, and those things. Again, I think our district continues to try to find ways to support our students as they and families as they access services in our community. The last one is the one you've seen before. Again, it tells you how many people are hospitalized. So there's 243 people fighting in our county at this moment. Whatever your faith or your beliefs, we hope you'll keep them in your prayers or positive thoughts or whatever our community's belief systems are. We've got people fighting, and we wish them a speedy recovery as we all fight our way through this. So that's the end, unless there's any questions for us from the board.
Could I just jump in for a minute? Just last weekend, we lost one of our own, Christine Harris, a longtime employee of the district, admin assistant over at Student Services. She was my assistant when I was over there. She passed away from COVID after being in the hospital not very long. And so it's kind of really a sobering thing when you get people that are close to you like that have passed away. It's tough. And we send our thoughts to her family and her husband in Arizona. So sorry about that. I just thought that this seemed like the right time.
No, it's important to know that it's hitting our local family with this wonderful person, and then our national family. We lost Colin Powell this year, recently, a great American in my opinion. So again, we want to keep you updated with these facts. They are sobering, but I think it highlights the importance of all the work that we do on the board's behalf and in serving the community that we serve.
Thank you, Mr. Bruff.
Thank you.
Appreciate that information. We'll move to item 12.2, another oral report on facilities, learning conditions update.
I said, I know you couldn't see me smile at you. Good evening, board, cabinet members, and the public. We're going to just talk a little bit, just a recap of what we did last week, and this presentation that we're doing right now is from the September board meeting to today. Would you go to the next slide, please, Sarah? All right, right now we have our substitute HVAC technician. We have them riding around with Edwin and David, getting familiar with the sites, the roof accesses, the site secretaries, how our work order system works, stuff like that, how you got to check in. If you fix the part, then you let the secretary know, and if the part's on order, either way, you put the notes in the work order so the sites are looking at the work orders. We still have our two outside vendors, Millar Heating and Air and FM Thomas. We kind of had FM Thomas go to all sites now because Millar has obligations with other school districts and their personal clients. So we got FM Thomas going around supplementing us on the large units and stuff like that. The good thing is that the temperatures are cooler. We're not doing the 107s to 115s with the humidity. Also, over the past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Pac West came out and started changing out the filters in all our units. We still have another weekend, the 23rd, coming up. We still have 3 sites that they haven't done, Paloma, Pinacate, M&O, and Paloma, Pinacate, and M&O. The other 7 was done this past weekend. Next slide, please. Right now, since September the 15th, we did a R&R of 8 units. We have one new unit in the process, that's R13 at CMI. And I put, it was from Paris High School because it was one of the old portables that we moved from Paris High School to give them additional classrooms over at CMI. We still can't get this compressor for Pinacate, room 302. You guys know that's Sue Carroll's classroom, but they moved her and stuff like that. Parts on order. When we get the parts, they'll install them. So like I said, it was 5 that was ongoing at Pinacate, plus that, the CMI, plus that additional 1. We had the satellite kitchen at Paloma Valley High School, and then we did B127 this past Saturday with FM Thomas. Next slide, please. As far as the custodians go, we still dealing with on absenteeism. It's critical. Monday, 10/18, and I didn't know it was a national walkout day until I heard about it this morning. We had 11 custodians out. We have 9 out of 15 short-term custodians, and I'd say what, boots on the ground. They passed the paperwork and all that other stuff, but they still haven't did everything they need to do for us to actually have them physically here. We utilizing overtime from the 30 people that HR got us to supplement our custodians. It's offered by seniority. We use a site map now. Hector and I met with Chris and David. So we're doing a site map to say, okay, at this weekend, what are you doing? At this school, what do you have done? So we can have a progression. And the overtime is offered on weekdays, weekends, whenever we can get somebody here. Focus on pressure washing, disinfecting classrooms and stuff like that. The only challenge I see with that is a lot of the members that's working at, say if I'm at Paris High School, I don't want to go to Paloma and, work at your school. I'm going to work at my school, and that's what we kind of having right now, except for the civic permits, which goes for the regular custodians. Sorry, I got to do that. Okay. We had our Williams inspection last week. We did good. I felt better about this one. As you know, last month I said that I asked Riverside County to cancel our Williams inspection because of the conditions of our school. The rep said we did good. We were one of the best schools that he inspected. PDs, as we was talking about PDs last week, it was good, like you were saying also, Tony, to see the new people all together, to get them in a crowd together. We haven't done that in about 2 years. They demoed some chemicals from Waxy. I guess cornhole was a spectacular thing because there was a line for that one and stuff too, and they was doing that. None of my guys did the yoga though. None of the custodians did the yoga. We got great gifts from the district too, the water bottles and the stuff that they gave us, and each one of us got a box. Every employee got a box with the water bottle and the spoon, fork, retractable straw, stuff like that. And Hector and I got together and we got all the custodians, all the maintenance workers. I think we got 70 of them, right? We got them that, a Letterman tool that you put on your pouch, and all of them got one of those. And district admin, we got happy socks, which is cool. All right, that's all I got. If you guys got any questions, yes, Dr.
Forgive my ignorance. I should have asked this a long time ago. What does HVAC stand for?
Heating, air conditioning, and ventilation system.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No questions. Just want to see that I'm really glad to see that you presented the problems to us and told us what the issues were, and you went out and solved them. And that's what we're looking for, is solutions. And it really is nice to see that. It was good to see the custodians and other personnel over at Heritage all together. And
yeah, it's been a while.
It means a lot to them. People don't realize they're the kind of the forgotten ones.
Right. That's why I put in here the gifts that they received. Everyone was happy about. I mean, whoever decided, I don't know who, the water bottle thing and stuff like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I saw the gifts. They were really
nice.
nice.
It was really good. And it's a process. We're not where we want to be, but we are moving in the right direction right now.
Yeah, it's building. It's
right,
looking
yeah.
good.
So we'll get back to where we was and then exceed that.
Okay.
up under Hector.
Yeah, well, Hector's, you two are one and the same.
Yeah, we know.
As to quote,
it's gonna be the same thing.
your other
You-
half.
you won't miss a beat. We'll be
Okay.
good. He's a good guy.
Thank you, Director Fritz.
All right.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to move now to, well, we have a written report here, 13.1, General Functions, Williams Settlement Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report Summary for July through September 2021. Is there a presentation with that, or? Oh, okay. Well, it's under written reports, so, okay.
Information item though.
Okay, so we'll go to 13.2, information item, September 2021 monthly suspension reports. Also information item. Now we move to action items. 14.1, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson, Trustee Freeman. You can vote electronically. .1 passes 4 with 1 absent. 14.2, personnel, certificated personnel action items, classified personnel action items, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee
Second.
Vallejo, Trustee Nelson, please vote electronically. .2, personnel passes 4 with 1 absence, 4 in favor, 1 absence. 14.3 is personnel, approval to restore the plant supervisor position and to reclassify the current custodial supervisor position as a plant supervisor.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson has the motion. Trustee Freeman has the second. Any questions or comments? Okay. Well, I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but this is giving the sites back their plant supervisors, which is an extremely important role that helps. It's one of the solutions and helps us keep our schools clean. The one thing I will say is I'm very adamant about I want to see working plant supervisors that fill in for those vacancies when we have personnel out. From personal experience, it really brings the morale up when you work with your people. It allows you to do the inspections at the same time you're doing that work. And Hector, you have a few comments?
Yeah, just a few comments. This is a very exciting item for our maintenance operations and custodial departments. It brings back an opportunity to bring back that level of service that we need at the site, especially at such a critical time right now when we're having, as Director Fritz was talking about, absenteeism and different issues that we still have ongoing with COVID. So having that plant supervisor on site, being able to work with staff, I think is really going to help with morale. It's going to boost productivity. It's going to boost customer service. And it's very exciting to be hopefully bringing them back tonight.
Thank you, Hector. That's to me, that's really a great step in the right direction.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So you can vote electronically now. Oh, we did? Okay.
We did.
So, oh, did I vote? Okay. So it's 4 in favor and 1 absence. Number 14.4 is personnel. Resolution number 07-2122, extension employment for short-term classified employees to perform specified service. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Nelson?
Second.
Trustee Vallejo? You can vote electronically. .4 passes 4 in favor with 1 absent. 14.5 personnel resolution 08-2122 temporary rate of pay increases for classified and certificated substitutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Freeman.
Second.
Trustee Nelson. Please vote electronically. $14.5 passes 4 in favor with 1 absence. Okay, we move to another action item. Personnel. No, wait. No.
14.6.
14.6 is curriculum, ratification of master services agreement IN 70198 with the Riverside County Superintendent of Schools for infra special education local plan area educational services funded through the special education at an estimated cost of $619,512, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Vallejo.
Second.
Trustee Freeman. You can vote electronically. Any questions? No. 14.6 correct.
I got it.
Oh, you are, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. There it is. 14.6 curriculum passes 4 in favor with 1 absent. 14.7 is curriculum, elementary and secondary school emergency relief. Third update. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We do have a presentation on this one. If you'd like.
Presentation before the vote.
I think Ms. Diane Martin is going to lead us through that, along with, and Mr. Bruff.
Have us both up here.
Try to put the timer up.
Yeah, you should put the timer on, because usually we shouldn't do this together.
Verbose and verboser, we were
Yeah.
saying, like Dumb and Dumber.
Well, I'm the verbose and you're just the verboser. Good evening, Vice President Stafford, Cabinet members, President, look, I'm going to do the same thing, Superintendent, Mr. Bennett, Cabinet, and guests. So Mr. Bruff and I are going to be sharing our Sr3 Expenditure Plan. I did provide you with a binder that has a copy of all of the plans since school closure March of 2020. Ms. Vallejo, I think this will be very beneficial for you joining us with all our past plans to kind of get us up to speed on where we are. So a lot of the work that we do, a lot of the decisions that we make around programs and services for students in our community is really centered around our 4 LCAP goals. So I always want to make sure that this is up front and center as we are planning to utilize state and federal dollars and resources. So I always just like to present that at the board and any of our public meetings, especially with our parent advisory. So I just want to take you on a little journey. It won't take too long, but just since the COVID closure of March of 2020, the state asked us, that was a time when we would have been doing a new 3-year LCAP cycle. And so in lieu of that, when the schools closed, then the state, the California Department of Ed, had asked us, the districts, to create a learning continuity and attendance plan. So you have a copy of that in the binder. The PowerPoint also has electronic links, so I think I only just took maybe part of a tree to do the paper today, so I think some of you might appreciate that. I'm old school, so I still like paper every now and again. Sorry, Joe. So with that, we had to do a 1-year plan for the learning continuity. That was in lieu of developing the 3-year LCAP. Then a year later, so we received some funds for the district, and that was part of AB 86. We had to develop and presented to you the Expanded Learning Opportunity Plan, and that was back just this last May. At the same time, a month later, we had to develop our 3-year LCAP cycle. So it was a very, very busy time for our district, as well as Ed Services and all of our parent advisories that took part in the development of these plans. And now we're here tonight to share with you the next installment is our Sr3 Expenditure Plan. And so just to kind of give you a little bit of a timeline and visual, and so as we're presenting this information tonight, this kind of gives you the timeline, but really what I wanted to focus on is the Sr3 Expenditure Plan that we're presenting tonight is really an extension of the programs and services that we shared with you in our Expanded Learning Plan in May. So this allows us to continue the programs and services that we're going to go over tonight, to continue to fund them into the out years. And so We're going to basically do a slide for each of the different areas to kind of remind you of some of the services that we have committed to, and we're going to just kind of divide and conquer on
And as we move through these, if this feels a little deja vu, I want to reiterate what Ms. Martin just said, and that is, we shared with you the plan for this year, but we are such firm believers in the plan that we've outlined to support our students that the Sr3 plan is a continuation of those services. So as we go through it, if it feels like, hey,
I've heard
it
this
feels
before.
like you've presented this to you before.
We have.
That's because, hey, we've presented a lot of this to you before, and we believe it will be good to continue those services in the ongoing year.
And I just want to thank the business department, Candace and Alicia, because this was a Herculean effort, you know, with the resources and the funds that come into the district. And so a lot of collaboration between our departments had to take place. And so just a public thank you to you and Alicia, because it's been very challenging to work through this process. But we're happy that we have the funds to be able to perform the services. So Bob, you can take this
So
one.
multi-tiered systems of support, as you know, we added additional counselors, and we've added just recently another counselor in our wellness rooms. We anticipated the trauma that students would return to school with and felt that this was an important thing to highlight and focus on. And we'll be speaking about it throughout the presentation, but our students are certainly utilizing these services, and they're drastically needed.
Excuse me, could I interrupt the question?
Yes, sir.
Given that so many people have spoken and written about the mental health aspect for those who are having to wear the masks and whatnot, would you say that this does address that particular difficulty?
Well, to be honest or no, we have, and let me explain what the no means. We have students coming in for anxiety. They say they were out of school for a long time, and now they're back around people and they're suffering from anxiety. They were out of school for a long time. They got behind academically and it's hard, so they're struggling academically and that makes them depressed. We really haven't had students come forward and say the masks are a big deal, to be honest. I don't want to contradict too much, but students, often they leave class, they're not obligated to wear it outside. If you've been to any of our campuses, they wear them everywhere. They forget they have them on. Our young people have been very accustomed to it. We've had very little discipline problems. We just don't have kids fighting the mask thing at all. So the answer is no, because I don't think that need is actually manifested.
Thank you so very much for that response.
Yes, sir.
So in addition, the plan addresses the health services, so the additional school nurse to help decrease the caseload ratios, also just to manage all the education, the health screenings and access, and just the whole COVID contact tracers as well, so that's included in the plan. We also are addressing, part of the plan is addressing additional section allocations through the master schedule. This is so that students have an opportunity to do credit recovery and or acceleration for credits that were lost or that need to be gained to help meet graduation requirements. Additional sections were allocated through the master schedule to help with collaboration on curriculum alignment through ed services and the different departments across the district. We also included, which we thought was a huge need, is hiring of career center clerks at our 4 high schools. So we're very happy. I think that they are all in place, I think.
Yes.
And so they're definitely assisting with counseling and administration and students and assisting in the college fair career nights and also arranging for presentations for students' college and career opportunities.
Academic support, we've brought on as many paraeducators as possible. We're bringing in additional avid tutors. Of course, this is a challenge. As everywhere, it's difficult to hire people, but this is a definite push. We will continue to work on it throughout the year to bring in extra support for our students to get, tutoring from college students or additional support from paraeducators.
Okay. I think Art kind of nailed this one,
Keeping our
Mr. Stafford.
students
So I just know how to turn it on and off, and so if you have any more questions, you probably just need to ask Art about it. But definitely, we definitely have a line item in here in this plan to be able to help support the work that's being done at the sites.
It's also a recognition of our partnership with maintenance that, as you've spoken about, kids can't learn if they're not comfortable. And
Yeah.
so this is definitely connected to the academic support. It's not distinct from it.
Yep.
Diana,
Yes.
if you don't mind, if I could interject.
Yes.
Hector's actually preparing a comprehensive presentation on our HVAC plan for the next board meeting, so
Okay.
something to look forward to.
Fun times. Next slide. So again, we are obviously going to continue using the Sr3 Expenditure Plan to continue providing the PPE, the tested, the contact tracers, all of the work that needs to be done around COVID and managing that whole process around the district.
Summer school, we did a special presentation for you, I think last board meeting or the one before. A huge success. Our teachers really, raised to the occasion and came to work for the summer. I think on the next slide, we have the number of credits, and this, 2,062 students attended, 14,868.5 credits were earned. That's of 3,242 courses. So these dollars played a key role in students getting back on track who were dreadfully behind from the 18 months of COVID distancing. This was a proud moment for our district.
And we'll continue to offer the summer school with these additional funds for the next couple of years to help mitigate the learning loss and credit recovery. I think the one thing I'll just add is that we also extended for special education students past their extended school year, the ESY. So they had additional opportunities and time to be able to recover credits and also receive additional comprehensive services. So just wanted to include that as well.
And we've also listed here, sorry to go back, our most at-risk student population. So it's important to look at the overall numbers, but also always keep in mind those at-risk groups and that summer school was a particular help to them, catching them up. Social
Your favorite
workers,
topic.
you've heard from, Dr. Milos today that the social workers have had a huge impact. Our social workers, one at each site, have seen, it was 612 students about a week and a half ago. That was the latest number I have. So I know that it's over 650, maybe 700 students have come into these wellness centers. These are in addition to the extra counselor and the heavy load that our counselors are carrying. And again, they are equipped and trained for beyond normal SEL, but actual therapy for students who are suffering from anxiety, genuine depression, debilitating depression, suicidal ideation, cutting, so many of the things that plague our young people in this challenging time. The social workers are just really proud that we as a district anticipated this need, put the people in place, and now we're able to respond to the trauma. It's been a tremendous thing. Each wellness center has objectives to support. Any student can walk in, what we call Tier 1 students, Tier 2 students who are slightly getting off track, may have some behavior issues, may be struggling academically, and then our most at-risk students, our Tier 3 students. They're there to create a space, and those quotes today from Dr. Milos were very telling, that kids need a place where they can go and be safe. A campus can be a very large, big, threatening environment, especially if you've been home in your room for 18 months. And this is a space to go and be supported. Again, I want to say this is not just the social workers, but you have in these wellness rooms our partnerships with CBU and San Marcos. So we have not only the social workers there, but CBU and interns that are trying to clear there, and they give us up to 20 hours a week, and the additional counselor. It's important to have all three of these entities there because you can welcome kids that walk in, but it allows the social worker to do ongoing therapy. That would be more of a one-on-one situation, and we wouldn't have to shut down the wellness center because we have that extra counselor support. And then the social worker interns do ongoing follow-up, what we call check-in, check-out, where you might see a student who's really at risk, maybe every day. And then next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the next week, Tuesday, Thursday. And as their need goes up and down, you can check in, check out with them and give them that one-on-one support. So this is really a whole wraparound approach that takes many, many people.
And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions?
We're always available, just think of something later.
I It says it's an action item. Are we voting on something in particular for
The
this? or-
plan.
The
Yeah,
plan
it's
itself, okay.
required. Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure.
We had to do a presentation by the end of this month.
Okay.
So it is required
All
to
right,
be
thank you.
board approved.
So these are, again, on the three plan, the outgoing years.
Yep.
Okay.
This seems to cover a lot of the areas that I think of things that go on in the schools.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Your typical panic attack and things like that, so that's
Very
good to see.
comprehensive, we
Yeah.
think. It's very good.
Okay, very good. Okay. You have a motion and a second. Motion is by trustee Nelson, second is by trustee Freeman. Please vote electronically. Vote on 14.7 curriculum is 4 in favor with 1 absence. Next item is 14.8 building and grounds. Proposal with Pjhm Architects for architectural services for the Human Resources Renovation and Remodel project funded through the general fund at an amount not to exceed $31,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Okay, we had this item, I think it's been about 2 years ago, Grant, when we were looking at this, and I think,
It was 2-3 years ago that we were looking
Yeah.
at doing it, and the timing just wasn't right with the way the budget was and what we're looking at.
yeah, I think the construction budget has some room for this now, and that we can complete this project, so. Oh, this is general fund, okay. Okay. So we don't have a price tag yet?
This is just.
This is just drawings, yeah. Okay. Okay. No questions, you can vote. $14.8 building and grounds passes 4 in favor with 1 absence. 14.9, this is business, it's an action item, multi-year agreement with the County of Riverside on behalf of its Department of Public Social Services and its Emergency Management Department for facility use. No fiscal impact. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? You can vote. $14.9 passes 4 in favor with 1 absence. Next is an action item, report of purchases, 14.10. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? You can vote. Item 14.10, an action item, business, passes 4 in favor with 1 absence. Next is 14.11, discussion and information on the purchase of vans for schools and revision options to purchasing policy. It's an action item, but do we have a oh, okay, there you are.
I'm being expedient tonight.
Yes, okay.
We still need a first and a second.
So moved.
So we have a motion, trustee Freeman.
Second.
Second, trustee Nelson. Okay.
All right, am I okay to begin? All right. Well, I'm back again tonight to talk about purchasing after our conversation last month. It was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was for you all as well. So, not to go over everything that we went over last month, but I just wanted to give a quick summary of what our current purchasing authority is. In the last board meeting, we all recall, following the discussion, it was agreed that to continue the discussion, I would come back tonight with some options, and so I'm going to walk through those options. The options mainly revolve around those last two bullets. I think that was the focus of the conversation at the last board meeting. Specifically, contracts in excess of $10,000 are brought before the board as separate agenda items, whereas purchase orders are not. And that was part of the discussion. So you're going to see some of that in the options. And then that last bullet, the current practice is that all purchases for the previous month, making them a ratification, of course, since it's for the previous month, are shown on the monthly report of purchases, typically on the consent calendar. That was different tonight based on the sort of transition time that we're in. So with that, I'm going to begin with three options. There's many more options than three, but to try to focus the conversation, I hope I've selected three that give us some good discussion points, and I can answer, of course, any questions that you may have. So just to be very clear and transparent, so we all, again, understand our current policy, which is option one. There were two board members last month that talked about, current policy. I'm aware I can pull from consent and, ask questions either at the board meeting, and so I wanted to make sure we included the current policy as an option. It may not be what you decide to keep. Again, I mentioned last time we haven't modified our purchasing policy since 2010, so it has been quite a while. And so just as a reminder, contracts in excess of $10,000 are brought before the board for either approval or ratification as individual agenda items, including the full contract documents. Contracts not exceeding $10,000 are included in the report of purchases. So every contract is still coming before the board, just in a different method depending upon that threshold. And then oftentimes, we have one board meeting a month, emergencies arise, a combination, of things. There are many times contracts not by routine, but there are times contracts require ratification. And our current policy requires that when a contract is brought forward for a ratification, we include in that agenda summary what the reason for that ratification is. So that's the current policy on contracts. And then again, all purchases for the previous month are on the report of purchases. And as I mentioned before, our current practice is to put that on the consent calendar, and then, as was stated last time, you can certainly pull that or ask questions. So that's option one. Are there any questions? I know we went over this a lot last time. Yes?
Just a clarification between approval and ratification.
Sure. So an approval is when we're bringing something to you to ask for your approval, and then upon that approval, we proceed with buying that item or engaging those services or whatever it might be. A ratification would be we entered into the contract before we brought it to you for approval, and we're asking you to ratify that. And if I go back to the previous slide, that's in Ed Code and our board policy and administrative regulation. So you've granted that authority to us, and then you follow up with that approval or ratification.
What would happen if we didn't ratify them?
It's not an enforceable obligation against the district. There would be, if the vendor had done some work, we would have to have conversations with them about compensating them fairly for the work that they did, but it wouldn't be an enforceable obligation in terms of the entire term or length of the contract.
Thank you.
Great question. All right. Mr. Vice President, am I okay to move on to option two?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so option two would essentially be the current policy, but what it will do or would do is add a supplemental report to the current policy. One of the things that I heard in the last meeting was, sometimes there's just purchases, we see just that one single item on the report of purchases, and I might just like to know a little bit more about it. So Sylvia and I had long conversations about what these options might look like, and how we could make this happen as well. And so what we would do is we would use the current policy in terms of bringing the report of purchases forward on a monthly basis, of course. But what we would do is add a supplemental report of sorts to that report of purchases, providing a summary description to provide some sort of a brief description of what was purchased. And we would use two different thresholds for that. So for any capital equipment, asset, or any other item with a unit cost of $10,000 or more, that would be then included in the supplemental report. And then any purchase order as a whole that was over $50,000, with the exception of utilities. We didn't feel like we needed to explain to you that we had to, pay the electric bill on a monthly basis. And so like the current policy, the monthly report of purchases, we'd put that on consent. You could certainly, pull it, and then nothing would change with contracts. We would still bring those forward as a single agenda item for each contract. So option 2 is the supplemental report. And then option 3, I don't think it's complicated, but it gets a little bit more narrowed down here, because what it would do is create 2 new board items for purchase authorization. So in addition to the monthly report of purchases, and you keep hearing me say in addition because we're required by law to do the monthly report of purchases, so we can't take that, well, we could take that away, but we'd have to have an agenda item for every single purchase, and I don't think we want 400 or 500 more agenda items. And so what those 2 reports would be, it would be using those same 2 thresholds that I talked about in option 2. And so one would be called the authorization for purchase of capital equipment above $10,000. And it would be one report that would list anything that we would like to purchase with a summary description, again, with all those capital assets, or any other item with a unit cost above $10,000. Yes?
I don't want to interrupt you too much, but
okay.
how often do we purchase capital equipment with a list price above $10,000? I mean, does this happen monthly? Does this happen?
It happens monthly.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not looking at, years worth of data, but
Okay.
my experience tells, an HVAC unit.
That's what I was thinking about, was
Yeah.
the fact that we just replaced a whole bunch of HVAC, AC units and everything. And so
Yeah.
every single one of these would be an action item for us to vote on.
One action item for
For
all
all
the
of it,
items for
okay.
that month.
Okay.
Yes. So we're trying to streamline it a little bit because we want to also maximize, the time of the board too when we're here. But also, meet your desires in terms of, at what level do you want to, look at things in more detail. So, yes.
I think the reasoning here, this is a little different from what I read in board policy, which was the limits is your spending limits, which actually wasn't a limit. It was 500,000 and above.
I
that
know.
you're
Did you
authorized
notice
to
that got put in wrong when it?
spend. Yeah. So which is it? It's 500 and below or 500 and up?
So what Trustee Stafford is talking about, and so you're right, this is different because this isn't the current policy.
Yeah.
So this would be an option to supplement or add to the current policy. What you're referring to is the signing authority of the various individuals you grant authority to. So you grant authority to grant Alicia, myself, and Sylvia to purchase items on behalf of the district. You grant authority to grant, with no maximum. To Sylvia and Alicia, they're capped out at $500,000, and that's the whole PO. I'm supposed to be the same as Grant to sign their over $500,000, but there was some issue when we did with Gamut, when we did the policy revision back in 2010, and that greater than, less than symbol got goofed up and I found that when I was looking at this. I kind of joked and said, well, I can't buy anything unless it's really expensive. So we would fix that as well.
Okay.
Yes, Randy.
A couple of questions. First of all, you said that the policy has been in place as it is since 2010.
Correct.
Is that in line with the Ed Code?
It is, yes.
And do you know of any other districts that deviate significantly from that?
Not significantly. I did reach out to all of the CBOs in the county to ask that question, you know, like, where is your report of purchases placed? Is it on action, on consent? Most of them are on consent. And then do you bring all contracts, you know, to board, or is there some sort of threshold? And that piece, so everybody just does their report of purchases like we currently do, and the contract piece is what varied. Most actually have a much higher threshold than we have. Some have anything that exceeds the bid limit. Some have, I think, $100,000. The districts are kind of all over the place, but they are all in line with Ed Code, which allows the board to grant authority and limitations.
And you verified that with the district lawyer, too?
I did talk with our
And either of
lawyer
these,
as well.
either two options would also be in line with the Ed Code.
Yes, of course it would, and I did verify this with our legal counsel as well.
So Ed Code says if there's any malfeasance or any problem with the purchase, actually you become responsible.
Yes.
Not us, you.
Yeah.
So these are the things that, why we want transparency.
Of course.
Because it's always turned around and said, well, you voted for it, and you said it was okay, and
Yeah, the board sets
And-
the policies, and we have to operate within those.
so when you have a small item on a line that you can't even get the information if you wanted it, but you're spending that amount of money, that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah,
I think there has to be some sort of transparency.
Well,
And-
I think option 2 is what you're talking about. Can you go back one slide
Go
real
back.
quickly, please? Option 2 right there where it says, current policy, but a summary description will be attached for those items, capital equipment assets or any other items with a unit cost above 10,000 and any purchase order above 50,000, with the exception of utilities. So I think that's what you're talking about, is you want something just letting you know what that is.
Yes.
Yes. So
More
I
than the
believe- I
data
believe-
dump
So-
that we,
So that's where we were missing. We weren't getting the detailed description
Yeah.
that was supposed to be brought to the board under the existing policy.
not under the existing policy, under option 2 would add this to a policy.
The way I read it, it's existing policy. You were supposed to give us a detailed description at some point. I mean, how do we know what we bought? How do we know what you're doing?
So the current policy requires us to provide a report of purchases, which we do monthly,
Which
as you
has no
know.
information but a price tag.
Yeah, it
Okay.
lists like the PO number, the vendor.
Okay.
And so that's to Mr. Nellison's point. That's option 2 would then add an additional layer to that, so you would have additional information. Not on every single item,
No,
but
no.
at those thresholds that I talked about.
This was a one-time occurring thing. This wasn't ongoing. And this is, I don't know if I'm getting this wrong, but I see what's wrong with what you're saying, and it doesn't match with what I read in the Ed Code. And already you've contradicted what I discussed with Mr. Bennett on just those small things of what your power was. And was told one thing, and turns out it wasn't right. Ken just told me another thing. So my confidence would be in to see exactly what it is I need to see, and stop putting the burden as though I have to catch everything, because I'm not looking to catch anything. I just want to know what it is that we're spending our money on. And if I'm responsible, I want to know what I'm responsible for. That's,
This would give you that information, Tony, with the option 2, where it'll show up on the report of purchase, but it would have an attachment to it where you could click on and say, oh, this is what that was for.
okay. Now, I'm not looking to create a whole bunch of extra work for you either, which I understand that could be a problem. And
Well, it's only on the high dollar items. that we're
only on the
talking
high dollar
It has
items,
to reach these thresholds.
and not reoccurring.
And she thrives on it.
Okay. Well, you're
And I think
speaking for her.
we'd probably put transportation in there too,
Okay.
and not coming
It's-
each time.
To me, it's just common sense to know where our money is going. And it's nothing about, it's policy, it's all policy, so. But when I read the policy and the Ed Code, it says something different from what I'm seeing here, and that's what kind of concerns me.
Well,
you
and
know?
I want to make sure we address those concerns, because I heard you say something that, at least for me, sent up a red flag, because I wouldn't want anyone to leave this room and think we have been doing something wrong.
No.
And
No way has anybody accused anyone of doing anything wrong.
And I thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
So I may have misheard.
Yeah.
I thought you said you had received some contradictory information.
Well, when I read the board policy and the ed code, it doesn't quite match up with these figures here.
Well, that's because this is new.
Okay.
This is something
Okay, I know what, yeah.
Yeah, I'm proposing this to hopefully satisfy your concerns of what you didn't like about the old policy.
Well, look at when policy goes wrong, say another district.
Okay.
We could say use CN, we'll just say.
I knew which district you were going to pick.
All right. So this happens.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't stop and talk about it, then we really are not doing our job.
And that's your role as the board. So,
Yeah.
and I appreciate this conversation.
And I think it makes everybody more comfortable, the fact that if there's something you want to know, you can pull that information. And I know we could always call on you or call on, well, Mr. Bennett is our only employee, but those are the rules of
Right. No, I
governance. But I don't want to feel like, well, we missed that one, and we should have asked something. You guys are busy. You don't have the time to stop and tell us every purchase you're making. I understand that.
Yeah.
And you talked about this would slow down your department. I was concerned about that.
In all honesty, Mr. Stafford, I'm greatly concerned about that, especially if we move to option 3. And I just want to be transparent
Okay.
about that. I think we were in the kind of at the beginning of option.
By all means, go to the next slide.
I don't want to be cutting anyone off. Okay. So option, I'm just going to super quick, just to make sure we're on the same page, because we got a little squirrely there. So option 1 is what is currently in place. It matches ed code, it matches our current board policy. Option 2 is not in place now, but it is an option for the board to add that supplemental report. Option 3 would create 2 new board items using those same threshold levels. So we would have an authorization to purchase capital equipment. So that's any individual item above $10,000. So that would come to you in advance with the caveat I'm going to get to in a minute. And then a second report, this is again in addition to the report of purchases, for any POs that are above $50,000. And so both of those new board agenda items, so there'd be the report of purchases like always, and then there'd be 2 new items. They would have that same summary description that I talked about in option 2. The only difference is they would be presented to the board for your authorization as action items. But with both of those, because I hope we all understand that emergencies are going to arise. I don't think any person expects Art to be like, I know your HVAC unit is out, but the board meeting was last night, and so I have to wait to get authorization, next month. We would allow Art to do that based on the authority you give to us, and then bring it back to you for ratification, with a reason for the ratification. And that's just like the contract policy is now. Nothing would change with the report of purchases, so long as you like it the way that it is, and nothing would change with contracts, again, so long as you like it the way that it is with that $10,000 threshold. I hope I'm not moving too fast, because I have a summary table for you there that maybe rather than me bouncing around between the slides. But I'm happy to answer any questions you have about any of the options. I would be remiss, and you gave me the perfect softball, Mr. Stafford, so I'm going to take it. There are 2 concerns I have with option 3. I think there's ways we can address it, and some of that maybe we could talk about a little bit later. But option 3, there's two concerns. One is staff time. We are already very short-staffed in business services, specifically in purchasing. Sylvia is working very hard, learning her new job. She's doing wonderfully, but neither Sylvia and I, separate or combined, are superwoman. And then the second concern is just slowing things down at the school site and the department level to have to bring everything, in advance. We are absolutely, most certainly willing to do that if that's what the board desires. I just want to be very transparent, especially since there was a conversation last month about sometimes the time it takes to get certain items. So any of these options, or if we want to come up with option, 17 and 18 and talk about that tonight, I'm happy to have the conversation. But I've kind of outlined here the next steps would be for the Board of Trustees to select and approve an option or some alternate like I was talking about. We can have that discussion. If there's a change to the policy, and I know I said this last month, what we would do is revise the board policy and administrative regulation accordingly. We'd bring that back next month for the first reading, just like we do for all board policies, right? And then in December for final approval, and then it would be effective beginning with, the January board meeting. Yes, Dr.
With
Freeman.
everything that's been said, why is this an action item? I mean, why do we have to, we made a motion and seconded it, what are we voting on?
You would be making a motion for, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, Grant.
I guess I did.
Could be amend the motion, say, I want to amend my motion to select option for
Whatever.
ABC.
Okay. Yeah,
I would,
Okay.
more sense than it was.
I would hope we don't rush on this one, wait for
And I understand that.
President to be here.
I would like him to be here because I know he had some concerns as well. But I think his biggest concern was the fact that we brought some of these things to us after the fact for ratification, and his big thing was authorization versus ratification.
It was.
And even though they're essentially the same thing, one happens before and one happens after. That's essentially what it comes down to. And I feel that he had issues with making purchases that large and then after the fact saying, okay, we agree or we don't agree type of thing, where he felt that we should have had that power beforehand to agree to it or not agree to it before the purchases were made. That being said, what we are currently doing is still within Ed Code, still within current board policy. And we all understand that this stuff doesn't happen every single month. We had an incident before last board meeting where we had vans purchased and that type of thing, and the numbers caught us off guard. Essentially, that's what we were caught. We were caught off guard with the size of the purchases. I personally don't want to slow down the effectiveness of getting things when we need them. I don't want to put everything, have to have special board meetings just to come in to authorize purchases, 2 to 3 times a month, when that should already be taken care of in the day-to-day, and stuff that we know we would authorize anyways to ratify. It's those one-time type of purchases. I think that we all had that serious, oh, wait a second, why weren't we consulted on this? And not to say that this is going to happen every single time. We know it's not going to happen every single time. We don't have the money for it to happen every single time. But yeah, personally, I think option 2, giving us information. You wanted more information, essentially. That's what you wanted, correct? Yeah. Would still keep us within current Ed Code and our current policies. It would not add an enormous amount of work for you guys to do, and it would not slow down day-to-day operations, which is what I'm worried about as well, is slowing down day-to-day operations, because I know this definitely would, because I know we buy stuff more than $10,000, and it becomes an issue with some stuff for sure. So I'm not necessarily amending the motion yet, but my choice would probably, if we were to make make changes, would be to go with option 2, personally.
I agree with David here, but if the other thing that has been mentioned is that we want to have Dr. Arau here to do it, could we table this until next month?
Yeah, just we'd need to understand the timeline I provided would be delayed a month. Yes.
So I think I'm with you and with you as well. I think Dr. Rao should have a chance to say what he feels he needs to be said as well. It's still a 5-person board. We would still make the choice as a group, but I think everybody's voice should be heard on this one for sure.
I agree with you, David, I do.
So, okay, so I amend that we table this discussion for a month to allow all board members to have a chance to speak on this.
Second.
Okay, so Allison.
Third.
Okay.
Table, so we're tabling the motion.
Yeah, we have to take the vote to
But
table it
you
as
did.
well.
Okay, so how do we do that? Electronically or just by voice?
Thank you.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you, Candace.
It's amazing how furniture gets in here all the time. We've got chairs, turret tables.
So if we're voting,
Voting to table it for a month, since I amended the motion.
okay, so we're not voting here?
You'd still
Yeah.
vote, because you're voting to table it or not to table it.
Okay,
That is the question.
that is the question?
That's the question being posed to you, yes.
Okay, voting to table, yes. Okay. 14.11, action item is tabled for,
Until November.
until
We'll come back.
November, 4 in favor, 1 absence. Okay. Here we go. So we'll move to the next item is, item 15.1 is revolving cash report. It's an information item. Next is an action item, 16.1, closed session if necessary.
Not necessary this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay.
Necessary, okay.
100 board members surveyed said.
You have to vote on this one.
Huh?
No, that last one was an action with a vote?
This one's,
If we were going to go
if
in,
we had to go
Oh,
into.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 18.1 is discipline, board review of discipline matters. It's an action item. This has to do with sexual harassment, a lot of strike-throughs, simpler language. Is this the one?
Which one do you want?
No, that's not this one. That's not-
18.1.
18.1 is discipline.
Discipline, okay.
Okay.
That's
That-
board
that-
that's board policies.
Okay. I was like, whoa.
All right, I'm tired.
I like cookies.
So 18.1 is an action item.
Discipline matters.
Discipline.
Sexual harassment, we have a major issue.
We haven't got there yet.
So moved.
Motion by David.
Second.
Mr. Stafford, we have one case on there that we're going to pull off.
Okay.
Now that we have a motion and a second, we're going to, case 010 for 2122, we're going to be pulling off the agenda for this evening.
0102122?
Yeah.
Okay.
73.6.
The parent changed their mind. They decided they wanted to go to an actual hearing rather than a stipulated expulsion.
Okay. So you can vote now. (18.1) discipline passes 4 in favor, 1 absent. Next item is 19.1, other items by the superintendent.
I don't think I have anything else for this evening.
Good answer.
Okay. Next item is 20.1, information, other items by the Board of Trustees. Trustee Vallejo?
Yeah, I don't have anything to report.
No comments? Okay. Trustee Nelson?
Just have, everybody have a happy and safe Halloween.
Okay. Trustee
You get lots of candy.
Freeman?
And remember that November 7th is when we fall back.
Okay, and myself, just be careful, don't eat too much candy myself. I'm already sneaking into it.
Can never eat too much candy.
So we'll go to our special item here. It's an action item, 21.1, adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo.
Third. You gotta vote.
And you can vote now.
Hey, we're still in session?
We-
Okay, now we're
oh,
going.
now,
Okay, 21.1 passes
That was the
4
presidential.
in favor,
Where do you guys think you're going?